New data from the U.S. Transportation Department shows airline ticket prices are on the rise, despite an increase in the number of complaints. The average fare in the third quarter of 2022 was about $384, which is about 13% more than it cost the same time in 2021. A computer glitch caused some customers of Bank of America and payment platform Zelle to panic. Yesterday, after finding money missing from their accounts, they say that there was no clear explanation why. Bank of America later reported that the problem had been resolved and everyone got their money back. Young people looking to buy their first home may have better luck in smaller towns in the Northeast. New real estate data from Realtor.com shows Somersworth, New Hampshire, and Windsor Locks, Connecticut are attracting 25 to 34-year-olds because of their restaurant scenes and proximity to a larger city. The study also says first-time home buyers will find the best deals in Portsmouth, Virginia. With the economy in flux, more parents are readjusting their finances to help accommodate their adult children. Economists are still torn over if the U.S. will see a period of major economic downturn or not. But the question really is, what should parents know about when it's time to close the bank of mom and dad for their older children? So Eleanor Pringle is here. She's joining us with some of the answers. She's a business reporter at Fortune. It's great to talk about this with you. I have a very younger daughter, so it's not a problem right now. But I think, there's a lot of range in terms of how parents feel they should treat their adult children. Some people are like, get out of the house at 18, you're on your own. And then others, they're 45 and they're living in the basement still. With the economy being so up and down the last few years, do we know how many parents are actually still supporting their adult children?
So data from savings.com that was compiled last year shows us that 1 in 2 parents are actually still supporting their adult children. So the age group that is mostly being supported by their parents are children aged 20 to 24. So it's not the 18-year-olds, as you say, it's a little bit older than that. And since this article came out, I've had parents who've got in touch with me who have said, they're still paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars, and their children graduated college 10 years ago. The data from savings.com also shows us that 25% of parents are willing to pull cash out of their savings or retirement accounts enabled to prop up their children.
Well, I mean, we have talked about the burden of those student loans and how it often stops people from moving on in their lives. People choose not to get married or not to buy a house because they have to deal with this loan. That being said, how does a parent talk to their adult child about living expenses and about these sort of things?
So I spoke to wealth management advisors about this, and Paul Denley, who works for a boutique investment fund here in London, said that the onus actually needs to be on the children. So avoid a regular allowance if you can. Don't set that expectation that the money is going to keep coming. Have the sort of conversations where children come to you, and stay away from the lifestyle spending. Explain to your children, if you want to get one of those lovely affordable houses you've been talking about, that money is going to come out of a phone bill they might otherwise be paying for. So it's trying to help them understand the balance, that money is finite and that they can't have it all.
And it's understandable if parents want to jump in and help out, maybe cover some of the student loans or some of the sort of regular bills they have to pay. But at some point, maybe it may be a bridge too far. When should parents be reducing or cutting off financial assistance?
So, like you say, you've got a young daughter, and the advice that the investment advisors told me is to start as early as possible. Start your children's financial education from when they're little. Can you get them doing chores around the house? Can you give them a couple of dollars to, hoover or dust or whatever it might be? When they get to school or college, can you encourage them to have part-time jobs? So that helps them understand the value of money. I'm sure a lot of people remember their first paycheck, and it's helping them to get to that point where, they understand that independence and the value of it. I think another kind of good moment that wealth managers flag to me is when your kids begin the job hunt. They're going out into the world of work, and hopefully they can cover some of their own living expenses. So, a good thing to ask is how much financial support do your children need to help them in their job hunt? So, could they potentially live at home? Why pay two sets of household overheads when you could just pay for one? Mm-hmm. Could they potentially commute into their new job? And that just, keeps the costs a bit lower. And as I say, you're only funding one household.
All good advice, Eleanor Pringle. Thank you very much.